live, Farmer. Welcome to the podcast.
Now
Appreciate
we go.
Yeah, appreciate you coming out here, man, and doing this for us. We're like pretty big fans of the Thunderbirds now, dude. You know, all because of you. So, but yeah, I wanted to bring you on here to just bullshit with you, man. And I thought you were a pretty cool ass dude, an interesting guy. The first time I met you with Dwayne, what was it, last summer?
Yeah, we were working together last summer a little bit.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool to meet you. And honestly, I didn't even know anything about the Thunderbirds, and Dwayne went all into this and how he's the Zamboni guy and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, well, yeah, dude, I'll go to a game. And then I don't know who it was talking about going. They said they had an absolute fucking blast, and that's when I hit you up. I was like, dude, I want to go check us out, man. So
yeah, it's a pretty cool atmosphere. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the only pro team I've played for. I love it. Not only at the rink, but Winston-Salem in general, North Carolina. It's awesome here. And the team, I mean, we get probably some of the loudest, rowdiest fans in the league, and yeah, they get after it. So it's always fun. Always fun to play at home, and just cool to be a part of that. So
yeah. So where did you start? Like, did you start like as a kid playing hockey, or?
Yeah, pretty much anyone that's gonna play like college hockey or pro or whatever. Like since I was 5, so my dad used to play. He put me and my brother in since again we were like 4 or 5. Probably started skating and playing, and then I've just played every year since. And I mean, at this point, you get to a certain time where you said it's either probably time to quit or you got to do something with it. And I said I want to keep playing, and my parents said we'd love for you to keep playing, so they put me to college to continue that. And then I ended up here last year and this year again in Carolina for the Thunderbirds, and I love it. So I said, if you can do it and make a living out of it, might as well. It beats working a 9 to 5,
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And you guys look like you guys are pretty good. Like, you got good camaraderie as a team and things like that too. So that's cool to see. I mean, at least from what I see, I don't know what's behind the scenes in the locker room and stuff like that.
I would say if I didn't like it, I love it though.
Yeah,
you can get on a team, and I've played for last year. I was up in the different league, up in a few different teams in this SPHL, it's called, and it's just not as fun there, at least in my experience. It's a little more serious for sure. It's like technically a higher level, but just the guys don't have as much fun, I found, and they kind of treat it a little bit almost too serious for what it is. Where this league, I think, not only this team, but just this group of guys in general, we have, like, we're pretty good, and all the guys, we know that, and so we have fun with it too, right? Like, we're in first place in the division right now, I think second overall in the league, and, we just go have fun, like, on and off the ice, and it's just a really good group of guys, and, I mean, for me, it's the perfect situation to be in, I'd say, so.
How old are you?
I'm turning 25 this year, so.
That's a good place to be right now. Playing, having fun, traveling. You guys just got back from Mississippi?
Yeah, we're in Mississippi, Biloxi, right on the beach this weekend. That was a fun weekend too. That's a cool spot. Yeah.
Really? I've never been there.
Yeah. I mean, I've only been for the hockey, but unfortunately, we don't get to stay the Saturday night. We bus right back. But Friday night, as long as we win, coach gives us the green light. Usually, we can go. There's a bunch of casinos on the beach, so we'll hit up the Hard Rock or the Beau Rivage. Or, sometimes there's a couple bars down the road too. So it's a pretty cool spot to be. I like going down there. So
that's pretty cool. And so how many teams are in y'all's league?
So this year there's 14.
Oh, wow.
So every year's a little different. I think there was 11 last year. And then this year we had a couple new teams. And then I've heard next year there's going to be a couple new teams, but a few of them might fold as well. So it'll probably stay around 14, I'd assume. But yeah, so there's, I think 7 in like the Southern and then 7 in the Northern Conference.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so.
Is Mad Hatters one of them?
The Danbury Hat Tricks, yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Hat Tricks.
Yeah.
What did I call them?
The Mad, yeah.
No, not Mad Hatters. That just looks like it's like a rabbit with like a, do you guys play them at all, or?
So we played them, I think, a few times last year, but they're in the North Conference, obviously. They're up in Connecticut. I don't think we play them at all this season.
Gotcha.
And we were kind of rivals with them the year before I got here, so 2 years ago, I think we lost to them in the finals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was obviously a big deal.
Was that dude on there? That team, they call it like the baddest,
The fighter,
the baddest dude in hockey.
yeah,
or
Diamond
whatever.
Hands, Amesbury, yeah. He was there, and he was there for some of last year too. But I think he got suspended or like on probation from the league, so he
Yeah.
was up in now the East Coast League, which is like 2 leagues up from this.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he's, I believe, still playing there. I
he
think
got
in Fort
picked up.
Wayne.
Is that where it? Okay, he got picked up
Yeah,
somewhere up in that area.
and I mean, obviously, he's there to fight, but I mean, and he entertains the crowd. I don't know him personally, but I've heard like pretty good stuff about him, and
Yeah.
so I said, good for him, man. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I heard you were the guy, the entertainer, the crowd entertainer, dude. One guy told me actually it was the guy I told you about that owned this place previous to me, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I was at the game last weekend, and this dude Farmer was just freaking started cranking some dude, and I was like, oh, really? I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, I think I know him, So he ended up, I guess you got into it with somebody there. So how does that like, we were talking a little bit about the USA versus Canada deal, and I'll be honest, I went back and watched them, and I'm pretty sure that the USA kind of got their butts whooped. I mean, I looked at it and I slow played it, and I don't know, man. Like USA's all like, yeah, you won the game, but the 3 fights, dude, I don't know, bro. I watched them close, and I think Canada pulled out.
Yeah, it's hard to say sometimes. I mean, even for me, like I was in a fight maybe a month ago, and I mean, I won the fight, but I got my nose broken. The guy got one really good punch on me, but like overall, I got more in, and I took him down, right? So it depends on who you ask, really, who won the fight, I'd say. But
and what causes that? Like, obviously, like hockey lately, dude, has been like, phew,
yeah,
it's crazy. Like they're taking like a whole new avenue, because you got the NBA, dog shit. You have the NFL, pansies, and hockey's just this consistent war horse that you're always going to get what you see with hockey. Fights, people, you guys are super competitive. You're out on the rink for, I don't know, that was interesting too, because I played hockey as a kid, but I don't really quite understand it. You guys are constantly changing in and out, so it's like this high-paced, everybody can walk on their feet, but not everybody can ice skate. You know what I mean? So it's this wild dance that you guys like almost perform, and then at the same time, you guys are like trying to knock each other out.
yeah.
So where does that come from? Where does the fighting aspect come from? Because they just let you roll, right? I mean, it's kind of...
Yeah, fighting, I mean, it's obviously always been a part of the game, and hopefully always will be. I know they're trying to kind of cut back on it, but I don't think they will, because the fans love it.
They love it,
especially down south here, where most people don't know as much about the sport. Again, it's kind of just picking up the last few years, traction in the south, but people love the hits and the fights more than the game. Like, they don't care if we win or lose. Obviously, our fans want us to win.
Yeah.
But if I go out there, play like shit, but have like a fight or blow a couple guys up, they love it. They don't care. I mean, obviously it's entertaining. I like fighting. I mean, I don't say no. If somebody wants to fight, I usually say yes. I kind of stopped asking guys, because last year I'd ask guys to go and nobody would. So I kind of just wait for it to come to me now. But or once in a while you kind of have to. So the last game that your buddy was at there, we had our goalie. Our goalie got ran about 4 or 5 times. And so there's always like kind of scrums in front of the net, whatever. But the last time it happened, it was like right at the end of the game, and I'm on the ice. And so I didn't really give the guy an option. I just said, we're going. You're not supposed to really hit the goalie ever, and especially when it happens that many times. And our goalie that started the game got injured because of it. I said, I'm beating the shit out of this guy. But obviously that's a big one if you're hitting the goalie. Sometimes guys just want to impress their coach or just, put on a show. Sometimes, there'll be like a dirty hit or a dirty play, or someone will just dummy your teammate, and you got to stick up for your team. So you kind of just say, all right, like we're fighting. So
right.
There's no real reason in particular. It just depends on the play.
Right.
I mean, most of my fights that I have are just I'll hit someone, or someone will, again, hit my teammate, and guys will usually come up to me and say, all right, and I don't say no. So
it's interesting because, like, I mean, besides, like, because I really enjoy martial arts and I enjoy combat sports in general, and but just to see kind of that, I guess, history of, I actually sat up before our last meetup time. We changed dates. I sat up watching fucking hockey fights and Wayne Gretzky fucking till like 2:00 in the morning for like 4 hours. I was like, that's how I found that hat trick dude.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I was like going down the pipeline of like watching all these crazy, and dude, it's like, it's really amazing. And I have a lot of respect for it is what I guess I'm saying. You guys, how many games you guys play a season? You guys play a ton, right?
Yeah, we play, I think, 56 regular
Jesus,
games.
dude.
Playoffs are pretty short in this league. It's only like, I think we played 9 extra games last year.
Okay.
They're like best of 3 series, or there's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
Or I think the finals was best of 5, but it's not much. The NHL, that's crazy. They play like 82 games.
That's crazy.
And then it's 4 best of 7 series to win. So you could play an extra like 30 games postseason. It's insane, man. And those are, especially the playoffs, those are battles. Like you're hurting after some of those games, man. And so I give those guys credit, that they're able to do that for that many games.
Right. What do you guys do for like recovery after these, double headers or triple headers or whatever? Like, do you guys really focus on like your recovery and things like that? Ice baths, saunas, pools, anything?
Yeah, so it depends on the player. I mean, again, this is a bit of a lower league. So the NHL, I'm sure those guys are dialed in with all that stuff, massages, all that. Me personally, I don't even warm up for games. I might go play Stewart's, like keep up soccer with the boys for 5 minutes, and then I don't do anything. I just sit there for like an hour and a half, go get ready, go play. Most guys aren't like that. They'll stretch and stuff before the game. They'll go warm up. So again, it just depends on the player. And then even after, I go to the bar, have a couple beers. I feel fine the next day.
You're 25. Your testosterone levels are through the roof.
That's part of it. I know some of the older guys on our team, they can't really do that as much anymore.
It is a true statement. You enjoy it while it lasts.
So I said I'm lucky where I thankfully don't really get injured or don't have anything super serious right now. So I just say I'm good and I just go play. Let's go have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys rip, dude. It's great. So when you guys are interchanging in and out of the game like that, there's like, I don't know how many minutes, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. What's the whole reason? What's the reason behind that? Why do you guys, is it just because your legs are burning out because you guys are skating so much? So you guys just need to like.
Yeah. So again, obviously running, most people understand the other sports and they change at like stop intermissions, right? So people get that. People never, changes are one of the things in hockey I think a lot of people always ask, but you're usually pretty gassed after, like 30, 45 seconds hard. If you're like skating, it's a tough shift, you're gassed. Like you need to change after that long. But sometimes if you get stuck out there, you might be stuck in the D zone. You got to get the puck out, right? And so you're stuck out there. Even like a minute and a half, that's a really long shift.
That's long. Yeah.
Depends on the shift though. Sometimes like I play defense. So if we're in the offensive zone, sometimes you're just standing there. The forwards, they cycle the puck. They're doing all the work. You're kind of just chilling at the blue line. So it's not, you can stay out there a bit longer. But if you're working hard, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, that's kind of the average shift length, I'd say.
Gotcha.
But again, depends on the position. Where me, sometimes I'll stay out there for a minute to a minute 30. Sometimes a bit more, a bit less. It all depends, right?
Right.
So, but I know you mentioned the other sports earlier too, and I mean, I respect anyone that plays like professional. I mean, every sport's got its own skill set and aspects you got to be good at, obviously. But I think hockey has the most like different skill sets you have to be good at. Because skating alone is like most people can't skate, and learning that can take years to be good at.
Right.
And then you got the puck handling, which is a whole nother thing. The shooting and scoring, which is a whole nother thing. And then it's full contact, so guys are trying to kill you, and playing with your head up and being able to do everything together. Again, I don't think people realize just how tough that is. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't pay attention to it. I was stupid in my 20s, and but like to see, I mean, even at any type of like, in my opinion, you're playing at a high level. Doesn't matter from your from where you guys are at in your league to the Gargoyles League, and then whatever, right? It's, to me, that's all pretty high level stuff, right? Like, I don't know what the jump is between what y'all are doing and NHL, but to be consistent and dedicated like that as an athlete is like, to me, is pretty respectful. you know.
Yeah, I mean, there obviously is a jump between this is like technically the bottom league in the U.S. and obviously the NHL is the top league, so there is a jump for sure.
Have you ever played with some of those guys?
Yeah, in the summer back home, a bunch of guys I know and used to play with are in the NHL.
Where are you from?
Toronto.
You're from Toronto?
I'm Mississauga. It's right beside Toronto.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean that's like Hockey Central right there. Like a bunch of the guys I grew up playing with are in the NHL, and I was playing either on their team or against them. So it's comparable skill levels, but at a certain point, again, you need the right kind of opportunities, and obviously, if you are a top level player, you're going to get picked up and drafted and selected, and so.
Do they base it off like size of guys too, or is it?
Sometimes, I mean, there's guys I think I was better than, but because they're 6'4", they're going to get picked as a defenseman over me.
Right.
And obviously, if you're playing in the league and you get drafted, you're going to develop and be better eventually. But I give anyone credit that's going to go play there. Right? You still have to be good, but
Right.
for certain, it depends on the team. Right? Certain teams are looking for certain things, and unfortunately, you can't teach size. If I was, 4 inches taller, there's a pretty good chance I'd probably be playing in the NHL. But
Yeah.
I'm fine that I'm not. I'm just having fun with it, so it's all
Yeah.
good. But
Was Gretzky a big guy? He wasn't a big guy, was he?
I think he was about 6 foot.
About your size though.
Yeah,
About
so
6 foot.
yeah, about the same.
But he was on a different level than everybody, right? Like, I mean, what do you think that's a combination of obviously talent and hard work?
I think
and
that-
that's just kind of what you end up with. I mean,
Yeah.
would you agree?
With players like that, yeah, it doesn't matter about size. Like there's certain guys that are just a step above, and
Get it.
obviously Gretzky is, one of those guys where
Yeah.
he's just clearly better than everybody. So
Yeah. Who's kind of like your idol, I guess you'd say, like in the hockey world? Who's kind of like your top echelon guys, like top 3 guys?
I feel like growing up, I was always big on Crosby, and the guy's
Okay.
still doing it now. I mean, with the Four
Yeah.
Nations tournament, I know
Yeah.
he put up, I think, a point today, and he put up like 3 assists the other game. But back in the day, Crosby was always kind of the guy for me.
Yeah.
And I don't even play the same position as him, but just watching what he does on the ice is like, and even still,
What position is he?
he's a centerman.
Okay.
I play defense, so.
Gotcha.
But just again, the way he is out there and the way he like moves the puck and he just sees the open lanes and where to go and where to pass it is pretty impressive. So,
Really?
and again, that's against the other top players in the world. So,
Have you ever wanted to be like a goalie or anything? What that looks pretty wild.
no, that's so I've played forward before. I still do once in a while if we're short guys or whatever. So I play forward and D, mostly defense. But goalie is one position where again I would never want to do that. I give those guys credit. Like I mean, you're standing in front of shots that are probably 80 to 100 miles an hour,
Dude.
in some cases, and I don't know how they can react that fast, and that's just a completely different facet of the game.
Yeah.
So
It's almost like catchers in baseball. It's like you got to kind of like love that
yeah.
kind of dig. It seems like a dog eat dog type of position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of special. I mean, I seen your guys doing some wild stretches and shit. So
Yeah.
you got to kind of be able to have to maneuver, to be able to do some of that. So
Yeah, goalies are usually the weird guys on the team, I will say. And this year, like on this team, we actually have 2 pretty normal goalies. They're beauty guys, but
nice.
most teams, the goalies are always the weird ones. So,
Really?
oh yeah, and again, they kind of have to be because they're just always a little different from
Yeah.
everybody else. So
Yeah. They're not trying to score. They're trying to protect y'all. You know what I mean?
exactly. So
A little bit of sociopath path to go with it. But yeah, so what do you think of the new do you know anything about the new Gargoyles team coming to Greensboro, or what's up with that? I mean, I don't know. I've looked into it. I've seen it online and stuff like that, but
yeah, I mean, I haven't heard much. Obviously, they're part of the East Coast Hockey League, which is kind of like the mid-tier league in the States.
okay.
There's some teams in Canada as well, or maybe just one team, Newfoundland, I think. But so they're like NHL affiliated, that league.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
are they like a farm league?
Pretty much, yeah.
So who do you know who they're going to be farming for, or is that
I would assume the Hurricanes, but
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I don't
Really?
again. I don't know much. It's funny. I don't really watch much hockey, or keep up to date with like stats or teams or
Yeah.
trades. I kind of just play and I watch a bit of the playoffs. That's about it.
most guys don't that are in it, because it's your world.
I said
what I
I
mean?
think I'm at the rink enough, and
Yeah,
I
you
do
just-
enough with it where when I go home, I could.
You look up at the screen, you're like, Cool. All right.
Yeah, it's again, I like the playoffs in the NHL. I think that's unreal. And obviously the Olympics and like what they're doing now, the Four Nations tournament's really cool, and that's good hockey. But
Is that what this was about right now? The USA versus Canada? What's that about? What are they calling that? The Four Nations?
Yeah, so it's the U.S., Canada, Finland, and Sweden are the four countries, the Four Nations in it.
Okay.
And so it's basically just like a round-robin tournament, and then I think it's Canada and the U.S. are going to be in the finals because Canada just won today, so...
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think that'll be a good... I mean, it's been a really good tournament, and I think that game, obviously, is the finals.
So do you think there's some Canadians playing on USA team?
There are some guys that are both.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys
I know. Do you know the Hughes brothers?
No.
Okay, they're like some of the I used to play against them, so they were playing in Canada.
Oh, really?
For I believe most of their childhood, but they were just born in the States.
Yeah.
But they like played all their minor hockey in Canada, like played in the OHL in Canada, and then they're like U.S. born, so they play for Team USA for like this stuff.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure there's other guys that are like that too, but those are just guys I know a little personally, right? So
yeah, because hockey's massive in Canada. Like that's obviously their number one sport, right?
Yeah.
And same with Finland and those other countries as well. It's pretty big.
Yeah, in Europe it's pretty big too. The States it's getting. I mean, it is big here too, obviously, and it just keeps growing here. So it's cool to see, especially down south. Like it's cool to see here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's like a weather thing too. Like,
yeah, maybe. I mean, like, especially I know a couple of years ago, like the Florida NHL team, the Panthers, I don't think got many fans at all. They weren't very good. And then they just won the cup last year, and they're like unbelievable now, and they sell out every game. So I think part of it too is you got to have a good team that like is doing good at the right time. To kind of improve like how you get people out and you get more,
I always feel
attention.
Right. And I always feel like, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like the atmosphere for some of these teams is what really drives them to be pretty successful. Like, for instance, Alabama has been such a good college football team for so many years. Obviously, that comes from the coaching staff. But you also look at, like, where they're located on the map. There's not really shit there. So guys, that's all they do. They don't have any distractions outside of, showing up and, versus a team that's in LA, right? You got all these distractions. I guess you can't say that for the Lakers. Lakers have been a dominant team over the years. Obviously Dodgers and things like that. But I kind of feel like these, bigger city teams typically have a lot of problems with like, players and things like that have a ton of distractions, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it depends on the spot. I mean, you just got to find a market for it, I think, really.
Yeah.
Like even our team, it's weird that we have a big like following here because
really big, dude.
Because we sell out pretty much every home game. Like I think our arena capacity is only 3,200 and we get like over 3,000 fans average.
It's like, hey, can I get a jersey? Sold out. I'm like, what the fuck?
And it's weird because you ask anyone else, like in Carolina or Winston-Salem, the Thunderbirds, they're like, what's that? They don't even know we have a team here. But but our fans, like they come to every game. I think we have almost 2,000 season ticket holders.
Oh, yeah.
So most of our fans, like they come to every game, right?
Yeah.
So it's like such a niche market, but it's the fans that we have love us. But then you ask anyone else, they don't even know there's a team. It's
we're huge fans, dude. We're fans for life now, dude. I'm not kidding you. Like, it was like that cool. My son had an absolute blast sitting right next to the rink, people getting smashed, and then walking around. You guys have like some really nice outdoor vendors, and things like that. I went and got like a 24-pack of donuts, which I didn't need, but it's just really neat, man. I can't wait to go back there again. And I actually had a buddy, I have a buddy who just bought or purchased, he's a minority owner in the Cobras football game, or football team here in Greensboro, and we were on the phone the other day, and I brought you guys up as an example of like, a small town team and like how dedicated the fans were, the staff and what they do and what they put into, and then and then just like the event itself, you know what I mean? And it's not like extravagant, but it's perfect. Like it's,
Yeah.
dude, I really think they do a really good job, surprisingly, especially for Winston-Salem. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And the other thing too is, and I've heard this not only from you, but a bunch of people, they've again never heard of hockey, never even seen a game down here, but they come to one like Thunderbirds game or even the Hurricanes or whatever, and they're hooked. They next season they're season ticket holders. They just watch one game. There's just something about it where they just can't get enough. And I know a bunch of our like boosters and our season ticket holders here, like you'll talk to them and they'll say they came out randomly a couple of years ago and now they're at every game. So
that's great.
It's cool to see. And you know, it's just, I don't know what it is about hockey, but I think it gets people in pretty quick.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it takes you, you know, it's just like, I guess anything else too, where it just, it's fascinating to see something sliding around on ice, dude. It's like, how the fuck are these guys doing? These guys are doing like, you guys are like backpedaling at like Mach speed down the ice rink. You spin around, dude, boom, blast into somebody. It's just, yeah, like people love that shit. And you know, it gets their mind off of what they do every day, you know? And I think that's awesome for the community and stuff, you know, in Winston. Of course, they've got, you know, Wake Forest across the street there and other, you know, I guess sports, obviously football's big over there too. So, but yeah, dude, I'm pretty pumped for you guys. So, I was gonna tell me about your career in music.
Oh, well, dude, the little transition here. Yeah, that's funny. So I actually literally just dropped an album on last Friday.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I started, I guess, rapping when I was, I don't know, maybe like 12 years old. And I pretty much wrote everything down. Like every time I'd think of something, I'd just write it down. And so it's been over 10 years now. I guess I've been doing it.
Really?
And after about 5 years, I think I was in high school, like a senior in high school, I put out like a mixtape on SoundCloud because everyone kept bothering me. They're like, man, you should do something. You should do something. So I'm like, all right, let me try something. Put that out. It did okay. Some of my buddies obviously listened to it, some random people, some, you know, whatever. Kind of like left it alone after that. And then I think it's when I went to college, really, which was not, I went to college when I was like 21. So this would have been like 3 years later. That it kind of came back up because one of my buddies had heard about it that was on my college hockey team. And so I kind of got back into it there. And then my second year at college, I ended up doing like a legit album that I put out on like Apple Music, Spotify, all that stuff.
Nice.
And then I did another one with a buddy that I met at college. He was in my class, my buddy Don C., my son, I call him. And so we did a second album our second year at school. I only did 2 years in college, so I graduated. And again, kind of like thought I'd be done with it after that. I did it for fun, you know, whatever. And then again, the fans here last year kind of found out about it and they started bugging me. Oh, when's new stuff dropping, this, that. And again, I have so much like content because I've been doing it for so long that I haven't probably written much new stuff in a couple of years, but I have like a bunch of songs that are basically done or I just need to kind of finish them from like 5 years ago. And even this album I just put out, there are a few new ones that I made like recently, but some of the songs are from like 2018 or even earlier. And so I'm sure at this point, you know, maybe I'll have to do another one, kind of just get everything out and just eventually be done with it. But again, I just do that for fun. I don't really make much money doing that. Right. It's just a hobby. So
that's pretty cool. Your friend told me not to say anything. She's like, "Don't say anything."
No, I don't care. Again, and I never publicized
That's
it to
cool
anybody.
though, man. Anybody, I respect anybody who's doing any type of little side gig or fun shit, dude. That like, you know, what's the where can you find it at on Spotify?
Yeah, so Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music.
And what's the link?
SoundCloud. If you type in the Vster, so THE the space V-STER.
Okay.
It should come up on, again, just about any music streaming or whatever.
Sick.
And again, I just dropped a new album literally a few days ago.
Really?
So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's cool, dude. I'll have to pull it up. I'll see if Trevor can edit it into the video.
I'm
drop
sure,
a little.
I'll text it to you or something.
Yeah,
but again, I just do that for fun,
That's
so
cool,
I don't
dude.
really care too much. I just say, you know. But it's funny though, because there are people, like I'll get messages once in a while or I'll get like new followers and they'll be like, man, when's like the next album dropping? And I'm like, I don't know, like probably never. But then if after a couple of people ask, I'm like, hey, maybe I'll get some old stuff together, put in a bit of work. And
Hell
throw
yeah,
something
dude.
out there.
Why
So,
not? I
yeah.
mean, this is the age of getting online and doing
Yeah.
something. So I mean, you just never know.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's fun.
And it's
So,
fun, exactly. And if you're having fun, typically things usually go in people's favor. I mean, no, whatever. If you make something of it, great. If not, then who cares? I mean, who gives a shit?
yeah, no, again, I just do it for fun. So,
Yeah, that's great.
As long as I enjoy it, man, I'll
That's
keep
all
doing
matters.
it. And yeah.
Yeah. And so, where did you go to college at? Did you go to college in Canada or did you go here in the United States?
It's called Morrisville State University. It's in upstate New York.
Okay.
You
I'm
know,
not sure
like
what that is.
Syracuse.
Okay.
It's like about 45 minutes, I think, from Syracuse.
Gotcha.
It's like 10 minutes from Colgate University, which is like a pretty big D1 school.
Okay.
But it's like a one street town, middle of nowhere. Like Morrisville, like it's maybe a mile long. Like that's all, and that's all there is. There's like a small neighborhood on each side of the road, and then there's the campus, and that's it. Like that's all Morrisville is, man. It's small.
Really?
It's probably like 1 or 2 square miles at the most. Like it's small.
And they have a hockey program there? Or?
Yeah, so I
Really?
mean, they have every sport pretty much.
Okay.
Maybe not every sport, but they have like most of the main sports you'd see. Hockey program. I actually did cross country in college as well.
No shit.
My parents were good runners back in the day. I used to run when I was a kid. Didn't do it like in high school at all. Then just kind of randomly got back into it and did pretty well in college.
What'd you run? What were you running?
So they were 5 miles, I believe.
Damn.
5-mile rate. Yeah, so I did it in like, 29, 30 minutes. It's running like 6-minute mile pace roughly.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And I think I came like 5th in the conference one year, which I find funny because if you look at cross country guys, they're like 100 pounds or less. Like they're skinny. I don't really run much, but it's also D3. Not to put that down or anyone that does it down.
Right.
But like if you're a decent athlete, you can probably play most D3 sports after like I'd say a year or 2 of training.
Right.
I think hockey would be the only exception.
Yeah.
Because hockey, like there's only, I think less than 100 like D1 schools. There's not really D2. And then D3, there's like maybe, again, less than 100 schools as well for NCAA anyways.
So what's Wake Forest? What are they?
Wake Forest,
Are they D1?
I believe, is D1, but it's like ACHA. So it's NCAA, at least with hockey. I don't really know much about other sports, but with the hockey, like NCAA is like, it's really good. Because again, there's like limited amount of schools. And so if you're going to play like NCAA hockey, it's like it's top tier D1 or D3. Again, I don't know much about D2. I think there's only like 10 D2 schools, so it's like I don't know much. But then there's like I believe it's ACHA, ACHA, which is it's like considered club hockey, I think. And there are good schools, but there's a lot of like it's kind of just you can walk on and if you've skated before, like you're on the team.
Like that's kind of what
I think that's what Wake Forest is. Yeah. Again,
Okay.
I don't want to put anyone down, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of more like
Sure.
casual.
Sure.
It's not as
They're
like,
not competing for like titles or anything like that.
and I know they do have like tournaments, and I'm sure
Right.
there is like a national tournament at the end. I just don't know enough.
Do any of those guys come on to play for the Thunderbirds at all, or
Not that I know of. No.
not that you know of?
I mean, I know there are like ACHA guys that play like in the league and stuff,
Right.
and do eventually move up, but it's very few. Or NCAA, like pretty much everyone from my school is playing either in this league or like the Southern Pro League, or there's even some guys that play in the East Coast League. But like again, I don't know too many ACHA guys that move up and like keep playing.
Gotcha.
So
So like for instance, can you get recruited out of your guys' league to go jump up to another league?
yeah.
Or how does that work?
So after you're done college, you either are done playing or you play pro. And so D1, like NCAA D1, like some of those guys go to the NHL. Some of them go to like the AHL, which is the feeder league for the NHL, or the East Coast League, which is just below that. Or some of them go to like Europe. Like there's a bunch of good leagues in Europe that guys go to. Most D3 guys, like if you're at a top end D3 school, you can maybe go play in the coast, the East Coast League or the SPHL or here. That's where most guys go. But or Europe again. There's like a bunch of different leagues in Europe, but it's only really the top end D1 guys I'd say that go to like the NHL. Most guys, if you want to play, you kind of just find a spot somewhere.
Right.
And it's again me. I said like I know I'm probably never gonna play in the NHL. Like I'm just playing for fun more or less.
Yeah.
So I said I'll come to this league and see what I can do. Right. So
Yeah. And so, did you ever have aspirations to play in the NHL as a kid, or
Yeah, I mean,
college?
when you're a kid, you want to, obviously.
You're going all the way, dude.
Yeah, but you get to a certain age where, again, if you're not drafted and you're not playing this, at like a D1 school or whatever, then it's probably not going to happen. So, I still take it pretty seriously. Again, it is my job right now, but
Right.
again, it's more just kind of to have fun and like live a lifestyle than try to keep moving up and make it to the NHL at this point.
Right.
So.
Right. And so you're how's like the housing situation go for guys? Do you guys have like campus housing or like team housing, or how's that work? Like, where they recruit guys and they bring them in, and like, do you guys all like have your own places, or?
So every team's a little different.
Okay.
Most teams will get like apartments. So you'll share like an apartment with usually one or two other guys.
Yeah.
Our team, which I prefer this, we have 2 houses. And so I think we have like 6 guys in each house. And so it's like big frat house, basically. That's what we call it, the party house, essentially.
Holy shit.
So I'm living with 5 other teammates. There's 6 of us in there. Last year, I think we had 8 or 9 at one point in the house.
Oh, wow.
And so, I mean, I love it. Like, I was the other team I played for in the other league, like, we were in apartments, and that was fun. I had great roommates, but it's just different when you're living with, like, 1 or 2 guys versus, like, most of the team is right there. Because then the other house that I don't live in, they're literally our neighbors. Like, our
really?
next door neighbors, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Like, they're 20 feet away, so.
So when you guys get ready to go to practice, you all just slip rides with each other or whatever?
Yeah, so, but I love the living. It's fun. As long as, you get, like, a few good guys in the house, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think it brings you closer as a team.
Oh,
like,
for
I think
sure.
that's why we have so much fun on this team, too, is because all the guys are tight. But obviously not everybody lives at the housing. Like, we have some older guys on the team that are married or, like, fiancés, or they got, so they'll, like, live with their wives or girlfriends.
Yeah.
So I think we have maybe, like, 6 or 7 guys doing that. And then the other, 12 guys are in the team houses.
Gotcha. Does your family ever come down and watch you play, or?
Yeah, so they came down for, like, New Year's. They'll try to make it once or twice a year.
Nice.
And actually, they came out the first weekend. We played up in Michigan, right at the border in Port Huron, which is like 3 hours from where they live. So that's like obviously a lot closer than driving down to Carolina. I think it's like 11 or 12-hour drive.
Oh, wow.
So they'll try to make it out as much as they can, but
That's cool.
obviously it is a little far. So
Yeah. Do you have any brothers, sisters, or anything?
I got an older brother.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he used to play, but not anymore. So
Oh, he used to play?
yeah.
Did he play like pro or anything?
No, he just kind of played more for fun. Like, I always played like AAA, which is like the highest level, like minor hockey.
Yeah.
And then I played junior hockey, which is like where you just go after you kind of age out of minors.
Yeah.
Where my brother, I think he just finished like minor hockey and then he was done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The garage is making some creepy noises.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to try to get Easton into hockey. He's kind of piqued interest in it. So, I mean, I've got some friends that their kids are in it and stuff like that. So, he likes anything with a stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We tried to get him into basketball, and it was just kind of like,
Yeah, I used to play a bit of basketball. I was never very good either. I mean, it's not for everybody, right? So, I think any sport is obviously, again, they got their own skill set that's hard to master.
Yeah.
So, again, it wasn't really for me. So,
Canada's produces some good basketball players, though.
Yeah.
I know that Mark Few at Gonzaga is a big recruiter for guys out of Canada.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Rowan Barrett Jr., RJ Barrett, I went to high school with him. We were in the same class. We were buddies for a little bit, and he's in the NBA now. He's nasty. So
Where was he playing at? Where did he go to college?
I think he was at Duke.
Was he at Duke?
I'm pretty
That's
sure he
right.
was at Duke. Yeah,
He was.
So I went to school. I actually know him.
Really?
Which is really cool. Yeah, he's a beauty guy. Yeah.
He's a beast.
He's really good, man.
That's crazy.
And obviously you hear things and you never know, but then look at him now, right? Like,
Right.
we knew he was good, but you never, things can always shake up a little differently than you expect. But yeah, he got drafted, I think, like 3rd overall or something.
Yeah.
Like, he's nasty.
Yeah,
So.
that's right. He did go to Duke. Yeah. So he would have been, let's see, that was 20. He's been in the NBA for a couple of years now, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, that's pretty wild. How big was your high school? Pretty big high school?
About 2,000 kids. Yeah, it was pretty big.
Okay, so it was a big high school.
Yeah.
How big's the city you lived in? Like,
So Mississauga is about 1 million people.
whoa.
People don't realize though about Canada, like the U.S.
Spread out.
Yeah,
probably,
U.S.
right?
is what, like 300 to 400 million people, roughly. I don't know yeah.
Yeah.
Canada's like maybe 40 million, so it's like a
Right.
tenth of the size.
Right.
But everybody lives. There's like only a couple cities. So like Toronto, there's maybe 5 or 6 million, and then the area around Toronto is probably another couple million. So like 1/3 of Canada lives like within 2 hours of Toronto, I'd say.
Right.
And then there's a couple big cities on like the West Coast, like Vancouver, and then there's like Edmonton and Calgary out there as well.
What about like Quebec or anything?
Quebec's, yeah, those are pretty populated too. But
Yeah.
again, like aside from those couple cities, like there's nothing in the middle really.
Is it different? Like parts of Canada different than other parts, like Quebec versus Toronto, or I mean, is it? I know I feel like some of them have a little bit like deeper accents and things like that. What is that? Is that just like old English or?
It just depends, I guess. I mean, even the States, like you go to the West Coast, they sound
Right.
different from the East. Canada's
Right.
the same. I talk funny too. Like I sound super Canadian. My family doesn't though. Like I don't know why. Like my parents, I think don't have accents. Like they sound pretty normal.
Really?
Yeah, and then
That's
even
weird.
yeah, it's weird. So
Probably because you're hanging out with your buddies and they all.
I
talk
think the
that way.
hockey has something to do with it too, and
Wow.
all that. Like, but again, it's because my dad doesn't sound like this. He's played hockey. I don't know. So
But you can tell you have an accent compared to other people.
yeah,
It's not a habit. It's just
how I sound.
It's just how
yeah.
you sound.
But the only I'd say
wild.
big difference in Canada would be like Quebec, which is its own like state, or it's called a province in Canada, but they
Right.
speak French there primarily.
Right. Right.
But
That's right.
besides that, like the rest of the country speaks English.
Yeah.
For the most part. So
Yeah. What do you think of Justin Trudeau?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I don't know if many people are anymore.
Doesn't seem like it, does it?
I feel like when he got in, it was like a big deal, and everyone was like pretty happy. But I mean, slowly, obviously, things change, and
Yeah.
I mean, so I think he's on his way out. I know he like resigned, so
Yeah.
depending what happens on this next election, I know he's done no matter what. Either that same party, they'll have somebody new, or the other party might win. I don't know. So,
There's some pissed off Canadians, man.
yeah, and again, I think he's done a lot of not great things. You know, not to get too political, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that guy. So
Right. Yeah. What do you think of Donald Trump?
I might get a lot of shit for this too,
It's
but
okay.
I like Trump honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he says some pretty outrageous stuff,
Yeah.
but I think some of it's pretty funny too. But I think he puts America first, which I respect,
right. Yeah.
and I think he's actually trying to do good stuff for the country.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
he's got 4 years here to
Yeah.
hopefully make things better, and let's hope he does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, he's trying to make it better for everybody, not just America, man. Because
Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, we're kind of the forefront as a country for the rest of the world. I mean, that's the way it's been for a while. And, it seems that, I mean, China's really taken over. They're growing at a rapid rate. Russia's doing pretty good. And so, I think the thing that people, obviously, you can be convinced, some of these people in our society, dude, you literally could tell them that the sky is fucking pink, and they will literally argue with you about it being green.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's like, I think the thing is that people just got it in their head about this guy, right? Because I'll be honest, when our last president was in, I had to keep my mouth shut about everything. And it's not the fact that I'm trying to be open about, oh, I like Trump or whatever. It's just clear as day to see that, like, he's not that bad of a person, man. I mean, he's really not. I mean, he's at the fucking NASCAR race. He's talking nicely about Canada, China. He was at the Super Bowl. When did you see any president in the last how many years that were at these events? Look, it's not just it's definitely America first when we're in America, but he wants to like make the rest of this fucking world, like, we're sick of people dying in Ukraine and over stupid shit and getting into wars and things like that and dragging other countries in. he doesn't want that stuff, man. I mean, no matter how much you hate this fucking guy, grab him by the pussy, whatever. I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they go off of. And then they're just like, I hate this guy. You know, it's just like, come on, guys. Like, don't you all want to have a little bit better of a sane place, you know?
Yeah. And again, I don't know too much, but I think recently, like a few days ago, he's like calling for the Ukraine-Russia thing to end. And obviously, whatever happened the last couple of years, they never did anything about it. And I know nobody's like been to North Korea. He went to North Korea. I said it's kind of impressive, like, to see him at least try to. Again, has anything really happened with it? No, but at least it looks like he's maybe making efforts to calm things down a little bit. So again, I don't know too much, you know. I hope he does a good job, and I know obviously a bunch of people seem to voted for him, and he, you know, I think
all the Thunderbird fans.
Yeah, I hope he does well. So I would have voted for Trump too.
Yeah, so. I mean, you know, it's just an interesting time that we're living in, where you know, there's like a lot of confusion, and I think that a lot of people in the world, I'm not just going to say in the United States, in the world, we kind of had the wool pulled over our eyes, and we kind of want to know what the hell's going on, what's really going on, like, you know. And so I think that the masses are now like, okay, like, let's listen and see what the fuck happens here. You know what I mean? Like, why is Justin Trudeau? Why did he resign? What's the reason behind all this? He was so popular. Now he's not at all. Like, that's a big jump, you know, within a short period of time, you know? So, I mean, was it COVID? I mean, remember all the truckers that were fucking bombing through fucking Canada, bro? Like, whoa.
Well, again, I don't know how it was here, specifically, like in North Carolina, but during COVID, man, we were locked up for like 2 years in Canada. Like, it was bad, man. They wouldn't let us out of our houses, really.
What?
And I got lucky where for hockey, I was able to get across the border, and I was in Pittsburgh for a few months. Things were pretty normal. And then I actually ended up going to Florida during, like, pretty much the height. Maybe not the height, but, like, pretty peak times in the pandemic, like 2021, I believe.
You were on a different planet
I was in,
then.
and I said, man, there's no restrictions in Florida. I was at the club every night, you know, making out with chicks, whatever. I never got sick, man. And I said, if everything's open and I'm doing all this partying literally every night for like 2 months straight, just the fact that Canada was locked up and then you come to the States and it's the exact opposite. I think that's a big thing with Trudeau, why people don't like him now, is because of COVID. That kind of started the downward spiral. And I can't back the guy on that, because I was complete opposite end of the spectrum, never had any issues. So I just don't see why you had to basically force people to be inside and do all that for like 2 years when there's...
It was way longer than here, right?
Yeah. And again, I know there were people like getting sick, and I'm not denying any of that. I'm sure some of that, you know, obviously did happen, but I think there's a lot of nonsense that went along with it that it's not real. So,
yeah. It's all about that dollar, baby.
Yeah. And again, I'm like kind of in the middle on most of these, like, but I think there's a lot of bullshit coming from, you know, the governments and stuff especially the last couple of years. So
for sure.
Yeah.
This shit's getting fucking wild, but I think it's going to come to a head. I mean, the people, it can't, you know, there's like, you know, a lie is like quick, you know what I mean? It's like, instant gratification, you know?
Yeah.
But the truth always takes a little bit longer to come out, you know what I mean? So the truth is always time. And I think right now we're in that period of time where we're going to start seeing the truth behind what the fuck is really going on, because it's, you know, it seems to be all correlated with something, you know, how can all these different countries all say, hey, shut it down. No one's going out the house. What? You mean to tell me I can't go out of my house?
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I pay property taxes. I live here. This is my land. I own this. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, you might be right. I mean, well, I know you're right. That's for sure what happened to him. I mean, he kind of cut his own throat, you know, and they all follow each other, man.
Yeah. And I think, again, people just got, not only because of COVID, but they just got sick of the, like the censorship. Like, I know, I think it's Meta. So like Facebook and Instagram, I know Zuckerberg just said there's like no more censorship now, because before you'd say the wrong thing or you're on the wrong side of politics.
Yeah.
You just get blocked or you get canceled, right? Which is ridiculous. Like, how
Yeah.
can you, it's free speech. It's an amendment,
Right.
like it's in the Constitution. You can pretty much say whatever you want,
Right.
within reason. And the fact you can't even have an opinion
Right.
is pretty wild. So I think that's starting to change now.
Yeah.
And hopefully in Canada, again, I haven't really lived there that much the past few years, but they're a little bit further behind, I think, than the States is on that.
Yeah.
Especially now. So hopefully things will be better there too, where, again, people are sick of the nonsense, and I think you should be able to speak your mind and say what you want at least.
Yeah. I mean, because Canada's a freaking badass place from what I've seen. I mean, dude, like, I would love to go hunting in Canada. I mean, the terrain's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool shit up there, you know? And, I don't know. We're on the same fucking continent. Jesus Christ. Like, why can't we all just, like, kind of agree with one another?
Yeah.
Canada's not that. I mean, let me ask you this. How different is it growing up in Canada versus, obviously you didn't grow up here, but what do you see that's different in Canada versus the United States? Do you really even see any much of a difference?
I mean, in terms of like lifestyle and all, it's pretty similar. There's
Right.
not really any huge like drastic differences. I mean, obviously the further south you go, the landscape and like weather and climate, all that's different here. But in terms of like, infrastructure and like how the countries operate and how people, it's pretty similar. Like there's between Canada and the US, like they might as well be the same place, honestly. Like the border's not irrelevant, but like it's kind of irrelevant. It's the same country pretty much.
Yeah, and it's all the American dollar up there, or is it
It's on its like Canadian currency is its own thing.
Is it? Okay.
I think it keeps going down too. I know when I came to the States, it was like 23% difference, maybe like 5 years ago. Now it's at like 40%. So if I bring $1 home, it's like I'm getting $1.40 Canadian. Like it's big. It's a big difference now.
Damn, you're wealthy up there right now.
Yeah. Well, no, here is over Canada, right? Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
but if I bring my money back,
if you bring your money back,
I know, yeah.
you could like,
Yeah.
seriously have some fucking cash.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. So,
And do you, I know we kind of talked a little bit about kind of like your future, and we don't have to go into like that really specifically. I know you're working on some things possibly, but what do you kind of see for your future as to like what do you want to do? You want to continue to be a party animal, or
I mean, right now I'm loving it.
you just enjoying
I can't
life,
complain
man?
at all. I mean, I love the hockey here. Again, it gives me a reason to be in the States and do the things I do. And I kind of joke with the boys, said, hey, I'll play here till I'm 40, man.
Fuck it, dude.
And honestly, right now I would love to.
Really?
I mean, I think want to go to Europe and play.
That'd be cool.
And I think I'd rather do that sooner.
Yeah.
While I'm still, a bit younger and kind of still have more drive to play and stuff.
Yeah.
But I said, I love it here. Like, I want to move down south in the U.S., hopefully get citizenship or something eventually.
Yeah.
So that's, again, nothing's concrete, but I do want to try to maybe check out Europe soon.
Yeah.
And then I'd love to come back. And if I'm playing for the Thunderbirds again or just living down south, I'd be all right with that.
How old do you have? What's the age limit or what's the requirements for playing with Thunderbirds? Like, can you?
There's none, man.
So there isn't none.
Pro hockey, I think you have to be 18 at the minimum, I believe.
Okay.
But
as old, that's
Yeah.
the age. Okay.
I think. And then after that, like, you can play till you're 60 if you're good
Let's
enough or if you really
go.
want to. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I said, again, if I do happen to come back here or stay here, whatever happens, like, hell, I would play until I can't.
That's crazy. Your coach seems like a pretty fiery guy.
Oh, Coach Harry's a beauty. Yeah.
Is he? He looks
Yeah.
like it. I'd seen him that day. I came up there and I watched you guys practice. He was, you could tell he's respected for sure. Everybody's listening to him. And how long's he been coaching? Quite a while, or?
Yeah, because he used to play. I know he played. I don't think he played in the NHL, but I know he got drafted pretty high.
Oh, wow.
And he played like in the AHL or the
cool.
IHL, it was called back then, I believe.
I gotcha.
But he's been coaching for a long time. I don't know when he started, but like many, many years. And I think he was retired, or he was supposed to be retired, and then he came back last year to coach here. And obviously he's back again this year. I'm not sure if he's going to do another year or not. It might depend how we do. If we like win the the league this year, then he
I
might
hope you guys do.
he
Yeah.
might retire off a win or
What do
something.
you get if you win?
There's these pretty cool rings.
Really?
I know you get, and then obviously you get. It's called the Commissioner's Cup. It's like a little kind of mini Stanley Cup almost.
Nice.
And so last year I thought we had the best team in the league. We lost in the finals. So that's, I mean, obviously the boys are pretty rattled about that because that's 2 years in a row now that the team has lost in the finals. And so this year, again, we've got, I think, an even better team. And the goal, I mean, ever since the start of the season was we got to win this year.
You guys have been fucking smashed. I've been looking at it. I'm like, win. Wow, win.
I think we're on like
win.
a 10-game win streak
you guys
right
are,
now.
You guys are crushing
And we
it,
had
dude.
like another 9 or 10-game win streak earlier this season. So
You went down to Mississippi and smashed those dudes, what, 4-1? or
yeah,
what?
they're not great. They're not a great team, but
Okay.
yeah, we've been.
Who's
doing,
kind of your rivals?
last year? Our rivals was Columbus. So they're play out of Georgia, and so it was always us and them like battling for the top spot.
Gotcha.
And then so we played them in like our conference finals for playoffs, and we lost the first game, and it's best of 3. So after that, it's kind of like not that all hope is lost, but we were going to their rink to play the last 2 games. And they like always win in their rink. Like, even our fans were kind of like saying goodbyes, like that's the end of the season. We beat them back to back in their own rink last year to go to the finals.
Oh, wow.
And so there's always a heated rivalry with them. This year, I'd say it's still there for sure.
Yeah.
But there's another team, Blue Ridge. They play in Wytheville, which is like an hour and a half from us.
Virginia, right?
Yeah, Virginia, yeah.
Okay.
And so this year, they weren't very good last year. I think we beat them like 12 out of 13 games. Where this year, I think we're only up. We've played them like 10 or 11 times. We only have them like 6 wins on them. So they're a lot better than last year.
Really?
And we're like, it gets scrappy those games with them because they want to beat us so bad because of last year.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, I'd say they're honestly our rivals this year just because I think we play them still another like 4 times.
Okay. Who are you guys playing this weekend?
This weekend we play a team from Monroe, Louisiana, one game, and then we play Danville. They're from Illinois for the next 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah, most weekends you only play Friday, Saturday, but sometimes you get the 3-3 going. So
Is it 3 this weekend?
yeah, so this weekend's
shit.
3 games. Yeah,
You guys are going to be rocking and rolling here.
yeah, and again, Danville, I think they're on like a historic losing streak. I think the most in any like pro sports league. They've lost the last like almost 30 games in a row or something like that.
Oh.
They have like 1 win all year. So if we lose to them, that'll be a serious issue. And then the other team, Monroe, again, they're I think at the bottom of our conference. So if we lose to them, that's another issue. So we should hopefully again have 3 more a 13-game winning streak after this weekend.
That's crazy.
And just keep the ball rolling here.
Yeah, I think we'll try to see what the schedule looks like this weekend. Maybe go out a Saturday. You play Saturday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Maybe we'll go out Saturday for a game. I'm thinking, what is that, 7:30?
Usually Saturday might be 6, but usually we play
6.
at like 7 or 7:30.
6 would probably be better, actually.
Yeah, I'll let you know. But
Yeah, let me know for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I met Dwayne is friends with my wife's brother, Nick. And Nick and Dwayne filmed for National Geographic's and went down the Amazon and all that. So I think that's
Yeah.
I was just sitting here, just popped in my head. That's how the story goes. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah,
I like Dwayne.
Yeah, he's told me that. He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. The Zamboni dude.
Well, he's from Canada too, actually.
Is he
It's
really?
funny. Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
funny,
that.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't meet too many, like even me, I think besides the hockey guys, I've only met like a handful of Canadians living in the States.
I've never met, actually, I've met, I'm trying to think. I don't think I've met any Canadians, dude, to be honest with you. Like, I've come across a few, had some conversations with guys that I think have been living here for quite a while now that are from Canada, which is pretty surprising. But no, I always find it interesting to chat it up with guys from different countries, like, wherever, Mexico, or I'm always wondering, like, how's the life? I mean, Canada's probably not really
Again, I think
not different.
the States and Canada, it's kind of like 1A, 1B, I would say.
Yeah.
Again, obviously further south is a little different but if you go to like New York or Michigan, like it's the same as Canada, man.
Right.
But you come down here, it's a little different.
Right.
Or you go to Florida. I think Florida, like I love living there. So
Did you like
to me,
Florida?
it was so like unique, man.
Where were you at in Florida?
I was in Daytona and Tampa.
Daytona.
And I've been to Orlando as well, and Pensacola once, but yeah. Tampa is like a really sick city. Daytona is a bit greasy there, but it's fun. I really liked it.
Yeah. That's like your old 60-year-old moms. I like to go to Daytona and hang out. But my wife went to college in Sarasota, so we're thinking of going to Tampa this year. I know that the head professor of our lineage, Hobson Mora, his school. I'm Hobson Mora purple belt, but his school is down in Tampa. Okay. So he usually has like a big seminar once a year, and I think we're gonna try to go down this year. And he's a bad motherfucker, dude. He's a little dude, but oh my god, bro! Like when he touches people, you're like, what the fuck? Like these fucking Brazilians are crazy, dude. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know much about jiu-jitsu or grappling.
I've seen a bit. I watch like the odd fight for UFC and stuff.
Do you?
Maybe for one summer I did some like kickboxing training. Yeah. But yeah, I respect that stuff's crazy, man.
Fucking nuts, dude. Yeah. So he's pretty cool. They're down there, man. They train. It's the great weather like year round, and they're like constantly training and. And the weather's nice here. I mean, really, you get 4 seasons. Yeah. You know what I mean? You still get hot. You get the nice fall weather, which I enjoy. I like kind of more of a fall person, but then you can kind of get ramped up for spring and summer here is pretty cool. Like, you kind of get the best of both worlds in North Carolina. You can kind of get the mountains, and then you can kind of get the ocean as well, which isn't too far. Have you been
I've
down
been
to
Myrtle Beach just for vacations or spring break, though. Okay. Never like to be there, but
yeah.
I mean, again, I like it here because, Canada, and then I was upstate New York for college. I'm sick of the snow, man. Like, I love it. Yeah. The heat here.
You're supposed to get some Wednesday.
I heard, yeah. but I said for here, it really hasn't been cold at all this year, man.
Not for you.
And I'm sure it'll be, again, a couple more weeks, it'll be like summer almost.
What's the temperature up there typically in your hometown in the wintertime?
I know my parents have like a couple feet of snow right now.
Oh, God.
And that's usually how it is most winters.
Really?
Yeah, and so it'll be cold from like November 1st pretty much all the way up until sometimes like April. Or here, like it gets cold maybe like a little bit in December, a little bit January, but by the end of February, like now, I feel like last year for St. Paddy's Day we were in t-shirts drinking beers outside. And I think it's going to be probably even earlier this year.
That's crazy.
Like, so that's why I like it here, man. I said even the cold is not that cold.
Right. Not to you.
Yeah. Maybe
what's the
not
coldest
to me,
you've seen it up there?
I mean, we use degrees Celsius up there, so like negative 30 maybe, which would be, I don't know what the conversion is, but it would
still
be like
under.
It would be negative probably 40
Jesus.
something.
What are you doing in that? Nothing?
Just staying inside.
Fuck, man.
Hopefully.
Did you guys ever play hockey like out on like frozen lakes and shit? Or?
Yeah, when I was a kid, we had like a pond near my house, like 2 streets down. We'd go skate out there in the winter.
That's sick.
But at a certain point, like I don't like pond hockey. I mean, like when you have real ice or like at the rink, and you get actual Zambonis to
clean it up.
It's like I'd never go back and play pond hockey, man.
Pond
it's just
hockey,
not, yeah.
Is that what you guys call it?
Pond it's hockey. Just not for me, man. Like
that's like that's like hood basketball.
Pretty much, yeah. Like so,
outdoor concrete, fucking. The hardest rim you could ever see. Dude. The ball, if the ball hits it and it flies like across the entire court. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm pretty pumped for you guys, dude. I don't know. We're gonna who was I talking to the other day that wanted to go to a game? Oh, my buddies I was telling you about. They're like, he's like big fan, dude. He's like, tell Farmer I want a jersey. For my SWAT crew, and I was like, yeah, we'll see what happens. And then when I went and bought this, I was like, yeah, they're sold out. Like, there's no more left. So,
yeah, no, they'll. I know my jerseys do okay. So we have a couple guys that they sell out pretty quick.
Do you get a percentage of it at all, or is it?
Unfortunately, not. No. It would be nice if we did.
Who's the owner? I need to talk to him.
Yeah, I no comment on that, so no comment there. But
No, I
yeah.
know it's business. I get it.
I have a hard time complaining about stuff here. Just
Good.
'cause the team hooks us up really well.
That's
but
great.
There are some small things that I think could be improved. But,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe some social media uptick, and
yeah,
maybe doing like team podcasts or whatever to get you guys. I always think that like the biggest thing, because what's crazy, dude, is you see some of these athletes that get into positions, they're not that great, but their marketing is phenomenal.
yeah,
And it's like, you can do a lot with it, with the marketing aspect of it. But I get it. I mean, different organizations are ran differently and they can always be changed. But I mean, I don't know. That's not my wheelhouse. I don't really know how all that operates. I kind of have an idea, but I feel like you guys are pretty happy at least, which is good,
At least with our team again, we have like 3 different owners. They're part owners. And
I
the
gotcha.
ones that are like always at the rink and they live here now, they try to do a lot for us. And
That's great.
And they do a lot for us.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so it's nice to have people like that really care.
Yeah.
Plus, again, we have a great booster club that are
Yeah.
essentially just we're like random fans, I guess, that they just buy us stuff and sponsor the team. They're awesome, and then we do have like obviously really great fans that they're pretty much all essentially boosters because they show up to every game, and some of us they'll take us out for dinners or give us money or something sometimes. Like they do a really great job here.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it up, man. It's kind of getting late. I kind of got you stuck on some
We got delayed a little
technical
bit to start,
difficulties, but
yeah, that's all right.
no, look, I appreciate you coming on here. I've been wanting you to come on here for a minute, and I was like, man, one of the people I made like a list of guys I was like, I want to have on here to talk to, and you were one of them. I really thought highly of you. I was like, that's pretty cool. I always like to talk to guys that are playing in any type of like high level sports and things like that. So good luck to your future, man, and I appreciate you hooking me up with the game, and hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah,
and,
again, I'm sure I could get you tickets this weekend. So
yeah, let's get it.
We'll figure that out here.
We'll figure it out. But Farmer, man, I really appreciate you coming on here, and we'll cut it out for the night.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, brother. Thank you.